The police officer handed me my own wallet and said, "You dropped this at the scene." I was halfway through making coffee when someone knocked on my door. Sharp, official knocks, like the kind that make your heart skip before your brain even knows why. Two police officers stood there. One held out my wallet in a plastic evidence bag. "You dropped this at the scene," he said. I blinked. The scene of what? "The accident, out on Harbor Road. You might want to sit down, ma'am." "The car accident on County 12 last night," the other said. "We're very sorry. The driver, Ethan Carter, didn't make it." My ex-boyfriend's name fell into my kitchen like a glass shattering. Ethan. I think I said his name out loud, like maybe they'd hear it and realize they had the wrong Claire, the wrong wallet, the wrong door. The taller one cleared his throat. "We'd like to ask you a few questions." I let them in. I was supposed to be arranging ribbon samples for a June bride. Instead, I watched a cop flip open my wallet, as if checking it wasn't a hallucination. "That's mine," I said, as if possession would save me. I didn't, and then I realized how useless that sentence was, because I didn't even know what I was denying yet. They sat me at my own table and asked the easiest question in the world. "Where were you last night?" "At my high school reunion," I said. "At the yacht club. I don't own a yacht, but in this town, everything with a roof and a dock is called a yacht club." "What time did you leave?" I lied automatically, because I wanted to. The truth was I left when my memory left me. There's a difference. Around 11? Maybe midnight. Fragments rearranged themselves like puzzle pieces that used to fit and now didn't. Sparkling lights, a stapled name tag, someone's arm around my shoulders for a photo, a headache blooming behind my eyes like poppies. "Did you see Mr. Carter there?" In my mind, Ethan floated somewhere between the cocktail shrimp and the line for the photo booth. He had that face he always had when people he'd disappointed were surprised to be disappointed again. He'd hug me, maybe. Or not. "I don't know," I said. "We dated in high school, but it's okay." The tall one said in the tone of a man who has heard so many people say it's okay and knows it isn't. "Could you come to the station to make a statement?" I did, because when two uniformed men bring you your wallet and your ex's death, you go where they tell you. At the station, they gave me coffee in a styrofoam cup and a room with a table like a school desk. They asked me again about times, about people. I gave them answers like lint from my pockets. And then they showed me a photo. Ethan's car in a spider web of guardrail, the metal peeled open like skin, the car door smeared with mud, the ground at the scene with a little rectangle in the dirt. My wallet. My heart gave a small, traitorous jerk like an engine trying to turn over. "I didn't drop it," I said. And who knows, maybe it was true. Maybe it flew. Maybe it was placed there by God, who sometimes has a very specific sense of humor. On the ride home, I kept my phone face down on my lap, as if avoiding it would mean the notifications wouldn't multiply. By the time I unlocked it, they had. Texts from people who hadn't spoken to me since we all wrote in each other's yearbooks to never change. Condolences. A gossip slick heard you were with him. And from my closest friend, Jenna. "I'm so sorry. Don't talk to anyone. Come over if you want." I didn't go over. I closed my curtains, put the wallet on the counter like evidence, and sat there listening to the ocean grinding away at the shore a few blocks over. You'd think a small town would sound smaller on the inside, but it doesn't. It just presses in. When the police came back that afternoon, they didn't bother with sympathy. They brought facts. My fingerprints were on the outside handle of Ethan's car. They said it like a doctor saying the biopsy results. The room tilted around me. Just a degree. "I didn't touch his car," I said. "I didn't remember touching it." Those are different kinds of truth. They asked if I would provide my clothes from last night. They asked for my consent to examine my phone. They asked if I had any reason to wish him harm. People always ask that with the politeness of a recipe. They want the one ingredient that turns ordinary batter into poison. "Ethan and I dated when we were 19, I said. "He cheated on me with the girl who worked the smoothie bar at the gym, and then we moved on, and then I moved on again. That was a long time ago." They looked bored at the smoothie bar detail. It didn't matter. What mattered was that I couldn't remember the color of the sky when I went home, or the way my key felt in the lock, or whether or not I had seen the guardrail on County 12 up close. After they left, Jenny came over with soup I didn't ask for. She has that kind of sunny competence that makes you feel like a plant under a grow light. When I told her about the fingerprints, she put the bowl down too hard and broth splashed onto my white counter like a Rorschach test. "That doesn't make sense," she said. "You never even went near Ethan's car." She said it too quickly, like she'd had the thought before. Do you remember? Claire, you were drunk." "Not like you. I have rules for drinking, and I'm good at obeying rules. I'm a wedding planner. My life is an ascending spiral of lists. 3 drinks, then water. Champagne is treacherous, gin is your enemy. Tequila is a map to regret." "And yet?" "I don't remember," I said. "I remember glitter and the DJ playing the same Lizzo song twice and the smell of the marina, and then nothing, like somebody erased a paragraph." Jenna reached across the counter and squeezed my hand. "Then don't talk to anyone," she said. "Let it blow over. You didn't do anything." The police called me back 2 days later, and this time the coffee tasted like a threat. They showed me footage from the yacht club parking lot. It was me, and it was Ethan. It was us under the grainy glow of a security camera, my hair half up, my mouth big and ugly the way mouths look when you freeze them mid-sentence. I was gesturing too much. He was doing that calm-down thing with his palms that always made me want to escalate. There's this special kind of nausea you get watching yourself do something you don't remember doing. Your body recognizes your body on the screen before your mind does, and it's like catching yourself in a reflection that isn't yours. I wanted to reach into the video and grab my own shoulders. Say, "Go home, put yourself to bed. You're out of your league with this feeling." The video stopped with me still in frame and Ethan stepping backward, toward his car. You don't see the crash. You don't see anything except a girl who looks like me and a man who won't ever look like anything again. After that, people stopped being subtle. The mother of my June bride emailed to pause services until my situation was resolved. A classmate posted in the reunion group, "Prayers for Ethan's family. Some people should be ashamed." No one said my name. They didn't have to. I went back to the yacht club because if you can't change the past, you can at least stand in the room it happened in and look at the chairs. The bartender remembered me. He said I left around midnight with someone helping me walk. "Who?" I asked, and he shrugged. "Tall, brunette, sundress. That describes 3/4 of the women in this town in June." I texted the group chat we'd made to plan the reunion. "Does anyone have pics from the end of the night? I lost some of mine." I said it like a lie and like a truth at the same time. Pictures trickled in, all the same angles of the same boathouse smiles. In one of them, I saw my own laugh from a distance, wide open and defenseless. In another, I saw Jenna in the background, her hand hovering over my champagne flute. At first I thought I was inventing it. The brain is a director who hates his actors. I zoomed. It went pixelated, then clearer. Her fingers tipped inward. A small crescent of powder fell from a folded napkin, caught by the flash. My hand lifted the flute a second later, mid-giggle. The kind of quiet, deliberate motion you can do in a crowded room without anyone noticing. I put the phone down and my hands were shaking so hard I had to sit on them. There were other data points I hadn't wanted to consider, because they made me someone I don't want to be. My phone's GPS history puts little red dots on places I've been, like a fairy tale breadcrumb trail for people who need receipts from their own lives. I pulled it up, and there it was. My blue bubble, leaving the yacht club at 12:07 a.m., heading north, then east, then pausing near the overlook where County 12 dips toward the marsh. That pause felt like a hand pressed to the back of my neck. I opened our reunion chat and scrolled back to the night of, to the moment we were all still sharing locations because no one wanted to lose anyone in a 20,000-person town. Jenna's location, for a half hour, overlapped mine. We were a two-headed creature moving together. I wanted to rationalize. Maybe she just escorted me to my car. Maybe she ordered me a ride and waited to make sure I got in. Except, I don't take rides from the overlook, and I don't get into cars with people when I'm not sure if the world is staying in place. I've learned those lessons the hard way. I walked around the apartment in small circles. Every sound felt amplified, like a live recording playing too loud. I held up that picture again, and the powder flash was unmistakable now, ugly obvious. My friend. My Jenna. The person I cry-texted the moment the police said Ethan. The person who brought soup to the scene of the crime, not to comfort the victim, but to see how well the poison was working. The thing about confessions is that sometimes you don't get them. You have to trap them like a feral cat and hold them still. So I made a plan, the way I make seating charts, meticulously, with names in boxes and lines connecting the troublemakers. I texted Jenna, "Coffee? Need to talk. I'm a mess." She replied instantly with a heart and a time and a place. She chose a cafe with big windows, the kind where being overheard is a feature, not a bug. I wore sunglasses and a calm expression I didn't feel. In my bag was my phone set to record, the photo of her hand and the powder, and a printout of my GPS history because it felt like armor. She hugged me. She smelled like lavender and something chemical under it. I sat, she sat. She made the face of a person whose heart is breaking for you, and maybe it was, in the way arsonists sometimes cry when they see the flames. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "I don't know." I fixed my eyes on a scratch in the table. They showed me the video. "What video?" "In the parking lot. Me and Ethan arguing." I said it like I was inviting her to walk into the story. She blinked slowly, the way cats do when they trust you. "Oh, Claire," she said. "You were so upset. You don't remember?" The impulse to agree with that, to let her feed me a version of the night where I was the problem, was stronger than I want to admit. "No," I said. "But I remember this." I slid the photo across the table. People like to perform shock by widening their eyes. True shock, in my experience, is smaller. It's a tightening, a calculation. Jenna's eyes didn't widen. Her jaw twitched, just once. "What am I looking at?" she asked. "You, spiking my drink." The word spiking made me feel 16. It felt like something adults warned girls about in health class while boys practiced opening beer bottles on countertops. "That's ridiculous," she said, almost a laugh. "That's a napkin. Claire, you were drinking." "And then this," I said, because I'd promised myself I wouldn't let her build a ladder out of my doubt. I pulled out the printout of my GPS path, then her location share. "You drove with me to the Overlook." She shook her head. Her ponytail said wholesome things her eyes didn't. "I walked you to your Uber. There are no Ubers at the Overlook." "Then the lift," she said, snapping, revealing the small crack in her voice that sounded like metal bending. "You told me yesterday I never went near Ethan's car," I said. "How would you know that unless you were there?" Something flickered in her face like a fish turning in deep water. "You're scaring me," she said. "You're not well." "You told me to let it blow over," I said, and my hands had stopped shaking now. They were steady as a mounted photo. "Did you think it would?" Jenna looked at the window. In the reflection, we were two women in a cafe having a normal, nice life. She exhaled. "It wasn't supposed to go like this," she said, "and even now it guts me how quickly I wanted to absolve her for giving me that small truth." She left the full sentence for later. That afternoon, I took my phone and the photo and my suddenly cold heart to the police station. The detective this time was a woman with crow's feet and a wedding band and the exact right amount of patience. I handed her everything and said, "Test my blood." She did. There were sedatives in it I did not have a prescription for. They asked if I was willing to wear a wire. I said yes because half of me wanted to be brave and the other half wanted to stop in the middle of a grocery aisle and scream. The next day, I invited Jenna over to my apartment. I told her I needed company. That much was true. I made coffee and didn't drink it. I watched her study my counters like she was choosing landmarks in case she needed an alibi. "Tell me again what happened after I left," I said, like I was asking for my own bedtime story. The wire under my shirt tickled my skin. "You mean we left?" she said. "You were upset. He had that superior thing he does. You asked him why he came. He said to see everyone. You said everyone includes me. I walked you to your car because you were wobbling, and then you wouldn't listen, and you went to his car and—" "Claire, you were banging on his window." "Was I?" I asked softly. She hadn't seen the footage cut out before the window. She was giving me details you couldn't invent if you hadn't been there. "And then?" "And then he left," she said. "And you came back to me, and we went to the Overlook, and you said you needed air, and I said it was dangerous. And you said you didn't care, and then you threw up, and then you cried, and then you fell asleep, and I drove you home." She smiled the smile of a person who believes their own story so hard it becomes true. "I was taking care of you." I slid the photo across the counter like a dealer showing his hand. "You were taking care of me when you did this too?" Jenna stared at it. This time her eyes did widen, not in shock, but in the realization that the audience had changed. "It was just to calm you down," she said. "You were making a scene. You know how you get." "How do I get?" "Big," she said. "Scary. People were looking." There was a thin line of contempt in her voice I recognized from other women in bathrooms, from the tone men use when you stop smiling. "Were you in love with him?" I asked. She laughed. "Don't be melodramatic. He was convenient." Convenience is a cruel word. It makes you disposable while pretending to be practical. Did you argue with him? I asked. After I left, she looked away. He said he was done. He said people like him don't get stuck with people like me. The us in that sentence hung in the air, poisonous. I was trying to keep him from driving. I was trying to talk to him. He always went to that overlook to smoke when he wanted to make a point. He was drunk and I was crying and I walked away, she said. He followed me, then ran back. He took the curve too fast. I didn't touch him. She closed her eyes. But I couldn't have it be me. Not again. Not in this town. I found your wallet in your bag when you passed out. I didn't mean for it to be so literal. What would you have done? I don't know what I would have done. I know what I did do. I kept my voice as level as a place setting and asked her why she had my wallet open. She said she was looking for my address, in case she had to bring me home. She said it like an apology and a justification and a benediction. She kept saying, I didn't mean, and you were safe, and he was always going to crash, and the wire under my shirt recorded all of it, every small, humiliating word. There isn't a clean part of a story like this. The police showed up minutes after she left. They were gentle, but not soft. They gathered the evidence, which now included a recording where Jenna said my drink wasn't supposed to make you that out of it, and that she only moved some things around by the car, so it would make sense. Manslaughter is a word that sounds like a side street until you turn onto it and realize it's the main road. They arrested her. She didn't fight. She texted me later from whatever cold bench she was sitting on. I'm sorry. Please tell them you don't want to press charges. As if this were a spat over borrowed shoes. As if the law were an outfit I could choose not to wear. Toxicology came back on me and on the cup I'd left on my counter after the reunion, and on the seatbelt of my car where there was a faint dusting that didn't belong. The video stayed the same, but its edges softened when I watched it now. There I was, drunk in a way that was neither chosen nor fair, arguing with a man who hurt me years ago and somehow still had the power to make me feel 16. It doesn't exonerate the part of me that wanted to scream at him. It does exonerate the part of me that would never put a wallet near a body to point at someone else. The charges against me evaporated like mist when the sun gets serious. People who had written prayers wrote apologies. Clients who had paused resumed. In the grocery store, women squeezed my arm and said, "You poor thing." Men nodded at me like they were signing a treaty. My mother, who lives inland and loves me in a way that involves constant worry, sent me a text with 16 heart emojis and one line. Come home for a few days. I'll make French toast. I went to the beach instead. I walked early, when the water is pewter and the gulls sound like squeaky hinges. I put my wallet in my pocket and kept one hand on it, like I was afraid of losing it again, even though I knew I hadn't lost it the first time. The ocean did its grinding work. The town woke up and put on its farmer's market clothes. Here's the part you can't put on a police report, the feeling that your life was briefly, precariously in someone else's hands. That you were a prop in someone's solvable problem. I keep thinking about the phrase the cop used, the scene, like we were all actors with marks to hit. Jenna wrote me into a role I didn't audition for. Ethan wrote himself into a finale he didn't mean to play. The town wrote me into gossip and then rewrote me into a cautionary tale. And what did I do? I kept the receipts. I paid attention. I printed my own GPS like a map back to myself. I still plan weddings. Today I arranged garden roses on a low table and tied silk bows around menus and said phrases that mean calm. We'll just pivot. We have options. It'll be beautiful. I still text Jenna sometimes in drafts I never send. How could you? Why me? Do you hate me or do you hate yourself? The unsent messages pile up like confetti you forget to sweep, and then find months later behind the couch, faded, dusty. Proof a party happened here. People ask me if I forgive her. I don't know. Forgiveness feels like a dress that doesn't fit yet, too tight in the shoulders. Maybe someday. Maybe never. What I do know is this. When the officer handed me my wallet and said, "You dropped this at the scene," he didn't know he was giving me back more than a pink rectangle of leather. He was returning the thing I keep my name in. He was telling me, without meaning to, that I'd been cast as a stranger in my own life and here was my ID. Here was proof I belonged to myself. I keep the wallet on the counter some nights and look at it like you look at something that saved you. It's scuffed and ordinary. It doesn't carry secrets well. It never asked to be evidence, and neither did I. But if you ever need to know how to get back to yourself when the story you're in isn't the one you chose, start with the objects. Start with the photos. Start with the places your phone says you were. The truth is not tidy. It is not kind. It does not wrap itself in ribbon the way my brides like. It is a handful of powder caught by a flash and a blue dot moving across a map and a voice on a recording saying it wasn't supposed to go like this. It is also the sound of the ocean at 6 a.m. and the weight of a wallet in your pocket, and the knowledge that this time, when something falls at your feet with a terrible thud, you will bend down and pick it up before anyone else can put your name on it.